In the current strategic climate of the Middle East, tensions between the United States, Israel, and Iran have once again drawn global attention. The region has long been shaped by cycles of pressure, deterrence, negotiation, and confrontation. At the center of today's developments are firm demands issued by Washington and supported, and in some cases intensified, by Israel. These demands focus on Iran's nuclear activities, its stockpile of enriched uranium, and its ballistic missile program. In response, Tehran has rejected these conditions, framing them as unacceptable limitations on its sovereignty and national defense. As military deployments increase and diplomatic signals shift, the situation has entered what many analysts describe as a tense pause and unstable equilibrium where miscalculation could carry serious regional and global consequences. The roots of this confrontation stretch back decades. Concerns over Iran's nuclear program have shaped international diplomacy since the early 2000s, leading to sanctions, negotiations, and the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Since the agreement's collapse and the reimposition of sanctions, distrust has deepened. In this renewed phase of pressure, former President Donald Trump reportedly set 3 core conditions for any future arrangement: a complete ban on uranium enrichment on Iranian soil, the destruction or removal of all enriched uranium stockpiles, and strict limitations on Iran's ballistic missile development. Israel has taken an even more uncompromising position, calling not only for the total dismantling of Iran's nuclear program but also for the termination of its support for allied non-state actors across the region. From a strategic perspective, these demands are designed to address long-standing security concerns. For the United States and Israel, uranium enrichment capability represents a potential pathway to nuclear weapons development, even if Tehran insists its program is civilian in nature. Ballistic missiles, meanwhile, are viewed as delivery systems that could alter the regional balance of power. By seeking comprehensive restrictions, Washington and Tel Aviv aim to reduce uncertainty and extend deterrence. However, such maximalist demands also carry diplomatic risks. If the requested concessions are perceived as eliminating Iran's strategic leverage entirely, does that reduce the likelihood of compromise? Iran's response has been firm and consistent. Officials in Tehran described uranium enrichment and missile capabilities as non-negotiable components of national defense. They argue that in a region where several states possess advanced military systems and where foreign forces maintain a visible presence, strategic deterrence is essential. Iranian leaders have referred to these capabilities as bargaining chips, but also as foundational safeguards. This framing suggests that Tehran sees negotiations not as a process of unilateral concession, but as reciprocal exchange. The central question becomes whether any diplomatic formula can reconcile these fundamentally different starting points. Recent events have further complicated the landscape. Iranian officials and state-affiliated media have referred to lessons learned from what they describe as a short but intense previous conflict, sometimes labeled in commentary as a 12-day war. During that period, Iran reportedly launched large numbers of ballistic missiles toward Israeli territory. While independent verification of every operational detail remains limited, open-source reporting indicates that the exchange marked one of the most direct episodes of confrontation between the two states. From Tehran's perspective, the ability to sustain missile launches under pressure may reinforce confidence in its deterrence posture. From Israel's standpoint, such events underscore the urgency of preemptive containment. In parallel with rhetorical escalation, developments on the ground have raised concerns about stability. An explosion at Iran's strategic port of Bandar Abbas, officially attributed by Iranian authorities to a gas leak, prompted speculation among some observers about possible sabotage. Without conclusive public evidence, the incident remains subject to competing narratives. Nevertheless, the location itself is significant. Bandar Abbas serves as a vital hub for maritime trade and naval activity near the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point through which a substantial portion of global energy shipments transit. Any disruption in this area resonates far beyond Iran's borders. At sea and in the air, direct encounters have added another layer of tension. Reports indicate that a US F-35 fighter jet shot down an Iranian drone operating near the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln. According to US statements, the drone posed a potential threat. Iranian accounts have characterized such incidents differently. Shortly afterward, Iranian naval vessels reportedly attempted to intercept or challenge a US-flagged oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. These interactions highlight the risks inherent in crowded operational environments. Even if both sides intend to signal resolve rather than initiate war, proximity increases the possibility of unintended escalation. How quickly could a localized incident expand into a broader confrontation? Iran's defensive preparations extend beyond visible naval patrols. Strategic analyses have long noted Tehran's investment in hardened and underground infrastructure, including missile storage and launch facilities embedded in mountainous terrain or along its southern coastline. Some reports describe tunnel networks near critical maritime corridors, intended to ensure survivability under potential attack. While precise details are difficult to confirm, the broader objective appears clear: to maintain second strike capability and complicate adversary planning. Such measures are characteristic of states seeking to deter technologically superior opponents through resilience and redundancy rather than parity. Beyond conventional forces, the role of allied non-state actors remains a central concern for Israel and the United States. Groups such as Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthi movement in Yemen, and various factions in Iraq are often described as part of Iran's broader regional network. These actors operate within their own local political contexts, yet their potential involvement in a wider conflict introduces additional uncertainty. If Iran were directly attacked, would these groups coordinate large-scale responses? And if they did, how would regional governments and external powers react? Washington's approach in this phase has been characterized by what some analysts call gunboat diplomacy, a strategy that combines visible military deployments with political messaging to increase pressure. The reported positioning of advanced air defense systems such as THAAD and Patriot batteries, along with the deployment of naval assets including nuclear-powered submarines, signals readiness and capability. The intent may be to strengthen deterrence while compelling diplomatic engagement. Yet the effectiveness of such pressure depends on how it is interpreted. Does it encourage negotiation by raising costs, or does it reinforce resistance by confirming threat perceptions? At the same time, Iran has engaged in regional diplomatic outreach. Communication channels with Turkey, Pakistan, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia suggest an effort to prevent isolation and reduce the risk of a unified front against it. Public statements from Saudi Arabia and Jordan emphasizing that their airspace should not be used for attacks on Iran indicate a cautious regional posture. Many governments in the Middle East seek to avoid becoming direct participants in a major war. Their positions reflect not only security calculations but also economic concerns, particularly regarding energy exports and investment stability. The global implications of this standoff are substantial. The Strait of Hormuz remains one of the world's most critical maritime arteries. Even limited disruptions can influence oil prices, shipping insurance rates, and financial markets. Major economies in Asia and Europe monitor developments closely, aware that energy security is deeply interconnected with geopolitical stability. In this context, the current situation represents more than a bilateral dispute. It is a test of crisis management in a region where military capability, political rivalry, and economic interdependence intersect. Today, the region appears to be in a phase that could be described as a tense pause. Iran has not reduced its defensive posture. While the United States and Israel must weigh the strategic, financial, and political costs of direct military action. The risk of a large-scale conflict, with unpredictable consequences, acts as a powerful constraint on all sides. Yet restraint does not eliminate danger. In environments marked by mistrust and rapid decision-making cycles, even a single misinterpreted movement or emotional response could alter the trajectory. As we reflect on these developments, several themes emerge. The confrontation is rooted in long-standing security dilemmas rather than sudden events. Each actor frames its actions as defensive, yet those actions are often perceived as threatening by others. Military deployments, diplomatic outreach, and public statements form part of a complex signaling process. Understanding this dynamic requires attention to both capability and perception, as well as to the broader regional and global context. In closing, it is essential to approach this issue with analytical clarity and long-term perspective. The tensions between the United States, Israel, and Iran are not isolated episodes but components of an evolving strategic landscape. Evaluating them through facts, open-source reporting, and careful reasoning allows for informed discussion without advocacy or alarmism. The current moment may represent a fragile balance rather than an inevitable path to conflict. Whether that balance holds will depend on decisions made in capitals across the region and beyond.